Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. 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 Om Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. Hari Om to everybody.
Hari Om, Pranam Swamiji.
Hari Om Swamiji, Hari Om.
Pranam, 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 pranam. For the past few days, Papa was prompting us to dwell on points to ponder, no? How to combine sadhana and daily life, which is very, very essential for us. Even if we fail and forget for most of the time, when we are reminded of this, probably we may be able to connect up as many activities with the remembrance of God. So in that context, we were reading out certain points to ponder, which Puja Swamiji used to touch and kindle in us when he was delivering his messages on important days from 90 to 94 or 95. So day for yesterday, when we were intensely going through, so many points came out, but nothing is unimportant. Every work we do is assigned by him. Suppose we try to cultivate, reducing feeling of otherness, trying to develop a need-based life, reduce the possession. We cannot do away with the possession completely, but whatever is needed, no? Contentment in whatever we have. Modesty or humility, so that we don't assert, we don't boss over, we don't insist our views on others. not reacting immediately, trying not to hurt others in words. These are some of the points that came up. We will again read all the 35 points. Let us see what does it. We are trying to look upon our own self, our own life, and pray to Papa who is within us now, who has prompted us to dwell now on these points, to help us in translating these ideal into our life. Ashram, a sacred place to love and serve. All devotees should live in harmony with those around and be a model to others. Hold fast to the high ideal set by Papa Mataji and make the ashram a haven of peace and bliss. Introduce universal prayer to remind us interconnectedness and interdependence. Daily examine your feelings and correct yourself. Give up petty likes and dislikes, jealousy and hatred. Live in love and harmony. Keep watch over all your thoughts, lest you should stray from the spiritual path. Introspect. Your spiritual progress is slow. How do we know this? How do we know that our spiritual progress is slow? Introspect if spiritual progress is slow. First of all, we should know it is slow. Then only we do the introspecting. So through this, Papa is touching, and are we asking ourselves? We are too much preoccupied with so many things, so we don't ask this question. Anyway, now that he has prompted us to ask this question, how do we know whether it is slow or it is progressing? What can be the
Swami, when our feelings are more, and we observe that our feelings are more than how we are passing the tests, we know that our progress is slow.
when our feelings are more? What do we mean by feelings?
When Papa tests us in very trying situations and we know we are failing.
Swamiji, when a sense of fullness is not there, we know something is missing.
When the sense of fullness is not there, we know something is lacking.
We don't feel God realizing, God in with us. That we don't feel. And we are thinking we are only doing.
We don't feel that God is making us to do. God, we have understood that intellectually God is within us. Yes, all these things are right.
Peace of mind.
Huh?
Peace of mind.
Peace of mind. When we don't have peace of mind, we feel the progress is slow. Quite right. In spite of my doing Ram Nam. Yes. Pure love makes one to see purity in others. What does it mean? Pure love makes one to see purity in others.
God is love, love is God. That is, means when we love each other, we realize that there is existence in the.
Yeah. But here, pure love makes one to see purity in others.
When we love all equally, we won't see anything wrong in another. Or even if we see, we won't really dwell on it.
Maybe our attitude, our eagerness, so that we are getting and that all things are reflecting that still the love part is not coming.
Hmm. When we see goodness in others, it is because of the goodness within our heart, is it not? When we see goodness in others, it is because of the goodness that we have in our heart that we see. Otherwise, how can we see it as a goodness? So, when we see purity in others, that purity is inherent in us. At that particular time, it opens up and gives. So, when the moment we see, it's a reflection, as somebody said. So, when we see purity in others or goodness in others, immediately that means God has provided an opportunity for us to know that He is within us in the form of goodness. Wow. This particular word came because, on a particular Jayanti day, somebody, much against Swamiji's wishes, uh, somebody said so many things, traits that was in Swamiji. Swamiji was feeling restless, but immediately when he replied, these words came. Because of your love, you see purity in others. Because of your purity, you are seeing purity. It is reflected on others. And then later on, when we keep on thinking about it, yes, God stands for godliness, purity, goodness. So the moment that is why, always becoming positive, always becoming optimistic. That means he is not seeing anything bad. So God gives us some opportunity for us. First we say he is so pure, he is so humble, he is so good, he is so selfless. Later on we come to realize that God, who is all these, is slowly coming out and making us aware that he is there in this heart, not to the individual. God, who is all these, is there in our heart, and that he slowly opens up, makes our sense of individuality to have a taste, and then it is reflected on the other people. So ultimately, it zeroes to the remembrance of God, which we are supposed to develop through chanting His name. Think about it. Any interpretation can have, but this was the background. Renunciation is perfect detachment from possessions. Renouncing, according to this school of thought, it is not renouncing anything. renouncing only the sense of possession. People in various walks of life have to possess. Family life, professional life, social life, so many things are there. But the detachment, if it is maintained, possession can do no harm to us. So we are warned here, no? Renunciation is perfect detachment from possession. Devoted service to Guru and the love for all is the key. Okay. Sadhaka should respect all. Nobody and nothing is irrelevant, unimportant, insignificant. Beloved Papa is in all forms and beyond. That is why we are asked to support, respect all. Chanting should be backed by intense devotion. Pa. Many of you might know that once when Mataji was raising the target from 500 crores to 2,100 crores of Ramnam for Vishwashanti, huh? Namajapa. She made why the peace is not felt by all. So what should be the background while chanting? Very, very thought-provoking. Our need today is to chant as much Ramnam as possible. Only Ramnam can help us to survive this coming Holocaust. If you remain physically here and keep your mind at home, then it is futile your coming here. You will not be happy. We had at first a target of 521 crores of Ramnam. Now it has been raised to 2,100. Do you know why? Because many times when you repeat Ramnam, you are either talking or your mind has gone somewhere else. Or you are listening to gossip. And though the mala is doling in rounds, chanting often comes to a standstill. Thus, though you might presume that you have done a lot of Ramnam, it will be much less. Otherwise, all the Ramnam that you say you have done should have had its impact on the world situation. The blunt truth. Because many times when we repeat Ramnam, you are either talking or your mind has gone somewhere else, or you are listening to gossip. And though the mala is doing the rounds, chanting often comes to a standstill. Thus, though you might presume you have done a lot of Ramnam, it will be much less. Otherwise, all the Ramnam that you say have done should have had its impact on the world situation. Rama, Sitapati, Sharanam. And one more she gave. She was talking to Sundar Mama, that much I remember. Elaborately, of course. She said, nobody is doing. The previous day, Swami Sachidanand had redrafted an appeal written on Mataji's instructions to be published in the next issue of the Vision. It was an announcement of raising the Ramnam target for world peace from 521 crores to 2,100 crores and appealing to beloved Papa in all human forms to increase and intensify the chanting of Ramnam for achieving. When Sriram brought the final draft to Mataji for approval, she asked him to read it. As the beautifully worded appeal was read out, Mataji's face glowed with emotion and she started shedding tears. Mataji still shedding tears and wiping them with a corner of her sari. None of you was with me when I made my appeal just now to Papa for peace of mind. Madhurananda and Shashikala were busy on the outside, while Vasanti and Sriram were busy inside, the former with her stitching and Sriram with reading the draft. So each one of you was otherwise preoccupied. Only Papa was with me. To whom else but Papa can I turn? None of you has yet developed to that extent to join me in my prayers to Papa. That is because none of you have developed that prem, talmal, kalval. What is that kalval? Huh? K-A-L-W.
Kalavala, worry, Swamiji.
K-A-L-W-A-L.
That is worry.
Worry. Love, anxiety, and hankering. That is the translation. Love.
Swamiji,
Ah.
the real meaning will be pangs.
Fans.
Pangs.
Pangs.
P-A-N-G-S.
Pangs.
Pangs. Okay. Okay. Papa answers our prayers only if we. This is very important. This is something which. That's why we were prompted to read this. Papa answers our prayers only if we water the seed that we have planted. The seed of our prayers for world peace with the waters of prem. When Puja Swamiji said, chant Ramnam with devotion. This is how they are leading us. So that means our chanting, what is devotion? She is describing. If we water the seed that we have planted, the seed of our prayers for world peace with the waters of prem. Prem is sattva, talmal is rajas, kalval is tamas. Only if you have all the three, you can hope to get your prayers answered by Papa, who is all these and beyond these. But none has so far gone to the extent, and so Papa has made me plant the seed for world peace myself and taken away my interest from a limited few around me to the world as a whole, which is after all Papa's own manifestation. Yet so anxious was I for your Sakshatkar that Papa told me, Ramdas is ready for your sake to give Sakshatkar to whoever comes forward asking for it. Let them only come to Ramdas for it. But none came forward for it. None asked Papa for it. Mataji shed tears again. Then Papa snapped by hankering for your development and took my mind away from you all to the world as a whole by creating a situation far away that I could not but give it my attention and pray to Papa for salvation of all in the world. You are not with me even when I pray to Papa for world peace. Each one of you is engaged in your own preoccupations. How can you then hope to plant the seed of prayer, have it sprout and finally fructify? You always ask questions about why there is so much of evil in the world, why there is so much of suffering and all that. You should not find fault with Papa's creation. Even the so-called bad is doing. Now, when you have a stomach ache, what do? Don't you take some bitter medicine to cleanse your stomach of the undigested food? This whole universe is Papa's own body. And if any part of it is suffering, it is only Papa who applies the cure for the situation by making the part of the world to go through some bitter experiences. So whatever happens, we should take it as for good. For it's not Papa or Mother. She knows what is best for her children. Can a mother be cruel or harsh to her children? So whatever is happening in the world should be taken as happening by Papa's will and for our own good. So in this, we can understand Mataji's anxiety and the mother's restlessness of our not rising up to her expectation. But here the point that why we were prompted, how to improve our Ram, the quality of our Ram Nam. Quantity wise, maybe we are giving. Quality of this Prem, what is it? Talmal and Talwal. Love, anxiety, and keen hankering. Correct. That keenness is not there. And we are not subjected to go through such pangs, We are all having an easy life. But in Bappa Mataji's case, we find it was self-denial, Mataji did not have to go through all those things, all the physical sufferings. But self-denial. You have to do some thinking. If we water the seed that we have planted, the seed of our prayers for world peace, with the waters of Prem, then only the prayer will be answered. Some idea about Puja Swamiji's word that Nama chanting, how does that? Chanting should be backed by intense devotion. Sadhana not to be limited to specific hours and place. Sadhana not to be limited to specific hours and place. It is clear now, What is clear now?
No time.
Eh?
No time.
No time limit.
Not only time limit, Everything that we do should be converted or transformed into sadhana. Everything. everything, right from rolling our bed sheets, keeping it clean, taking the brush, opening the tap, closing the tap, brushing the teeth, having a bath, changing the dress, old dress when we put it in the soap water, using the soap, keeping it in its proper place. These are all sadhana. No?
Hari Om Swamiji. Swamiji, the what Ram Nam stands for, the Om, the impersonal aspect, the Nirakar, Nirguna, the Shri, the personal aspect, the creation, Ram, both personal and impersonal, and Jai, victory, again Jai, victory, Ram, both personal and impersonal. So, if we do Ram Nam very, very slowly, thinking of each word, would that carry some impact?
Definitely it will carry, it will carry, it will carry. But is it possible at the time of chanting, whether it is possible? Because when we were initiated into Ramnam, these were not told to us.
Yes.
Chant, that's all.
Yeah.
Even at the time of initiation, what is done in ashram, no such thing is told. We just to play a talk delivered by Papa, where he explained something about the sweetness of Ramnam, and there Papa also does not say anything about this. Later on, when we went through his teachings, probably when he was abroad, when he was asked, or in the Satsang here, he explained about what this Om Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram stands for. For those who mindset to fix their concentration on the Nama, it might help. But at the time of chanting, whether it is possible or not, only that particular individual will know. If it is possible, nothing like that. The quality will definitely improve. But is it possible? So what we felt was, before chanting, after chanting, suppose we spend some time to dwell. I've been prompted to chant. He made me to chant Om Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. So the purpose he explained later that the Om stands for the nameless, formless. S stands for the with name, with form, and Ram stands for both and beyond both. That means it is all comprehensive. It touches everything. Suppose I dwell upon it again, then I start Ram. Then I think somewhere the effect will be there. But to simultaneously have this, because we are not exclusively sitting for that, nor our mindset is trained to do that.
Right.
In Papa's case, the attributes, he was able to dwell upon the attributes because he was able to withdraw himself exclusively on this particular aspect. So he was able to, side by side, that's what the word he said, side by side. But is it possible for us to do that? No? If it is possible, nothing like that. So what we would suggest is that people who are not exclusively sitting for this, among the various preoccupations, we have also included this by His grace, so that one day it will supersede everything. So until such time, what are we to do? So we try to improve the quality of our chanting, improve the quality of our remembering by dwelling upon the attributes, like what we said now. Before chanting, in between chanting, after chanting. There is a pause, somebody is leading Om Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram, and we are repeating it. there is a gap.
Yes.
In that gap, we can insert this,
Yes.
if possible. And let us not do
Yes.
it for hours together. Those
No,
who
no.
those who are involved in worldly matters or professional matters and
Hmm.
social matters,
Hmm.
they can set
Hmm.
apart 10 minutes. Out
Hmm.
of that, we can try this. Two or three Nama chanting will have this quality, definite.
Yes,
And
definitely.
after 10 minutes,
Yes.
we are back to the square. That is okay. When we try
Yeah.
to practice this regularly,
Hmm.
systematically, the effect
Hmm.
of it will slowly percolate.
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah.
So
Yes, sir.
this could be the method. We have to
Yeah.
try.
That's why very,
We have to try.
very, very
10
slowly.
minutes we try.
Oh,
Then we attend to
yeah.
anything.
Yes.
Even when we
Okay.
take to solitude, Papa has written. Mataji had also explained. Whenever Papa himself has written that in the vision of God. Whenever he finds the mind is getting externalized, that means forgetting him, he used to suddenly resort to solitude.
Hmm.
So, just like Ramnam chanting, solitude was an exercise by which the remembrance of power is hammered.
Hmm.
And when we go through that, we find Hari Om, Hari Om. Ah, you take it.
Hmm.
So that yes, what you said is right. We should make some effort to
Hmm.
improve the quality of our chanting. It is not the quantum. It is not the quantum that matters much, but the quality that matters much.
Yes, Swamiji.
And we know whether it is quality oriented.
Hmm.
We say, we
Yes.
want to spend quality time with you. Somebody will say, that means what? To make use of it to the fullest extent. So similarly, when we do Ram Nam, uh, it is not the question of how many hours we did or how many numbers we did, but how much we have been able to intensify the remembrance of Him.
Right, Swamiji.
And this Papa's suggestion of Nirguna Nirakar, Saguna Sakar, both and beyond both, it will help. It will help. So we can try either
Yeah.
in the beginning, in between, and at the end. Say 5 to 10 minutes, we can make a trial and see for ourselves. Uh, Let us not impulsively go and sit for hours together. Mind will run riot. No,
Yes.
my mind is not trained because we are not exclusively sitting with that. Uh, and at this stage, it will be difficult also.
Right.
There's a lot of that when we say Papa was intensely doing all these things when he was 38 years old.
Hmm.
Mataji did this when she was 25 years old. And all of us have become senior citizens, and we carry in our mind so many of our extroverted activities, extroverted concepts, everything extroverted, nothing introverted. So it is a tough job to remove all this from our mind store and replace this. It is a tough job. So we will try to do it. Take one or two papers, dispose it off. Take one or two papers, dispose it off. Probably it
Hmm.
might. One day we will be able, by His grace, we will be able to wipe out the whole baggage and then clear our mind.
Hmm. You're right, Swamiji.
We have to do somewhere something we have to do now.
Hmm.
Uh, that is why today
Okay. Ha-
chanting should
Hari.
be backed by intense devotion. Sadhana not to be limited to specific hours and place. Lack of intensity retards our progress. Love expansively, enjoy eternal happiness. See the finger of God in all events and individuals. Celebrations are exclusively for God remembrance. When we say that, on the 23rd, today is 20, 21, 22, after 3 days. 23rd April happens to be the 140th Jayanti of Papa. It was in 1884 he was born. Is it just to remember that? Here he says, celebrations are exclusively for God remembrance. We need some instrument, It is like any other day only. Everything is going on in a routine way. Morning the sun rises at the same time. We all get up, we all have our bath, we all do everything. Eat 3 times. On that day probably we may get payasam also. And then the day goes. At the time of flower offering, we will be prompted to dwell on the importance of the day. At 11:30 or 12 o'clock, again some few words. And 3:30 again on few words about that importance. Bas. That also fades away in our mind. But here, Puja Swamiji is asking us to treat celebrations are for God remembrance, exclusively for God remembrance. We have not trained our mind to have exclusively on God remembrance. So even if we retire on that particular day, suppose we say, we will increase our Ram Nam. It will be a physical act. Suppose we say we will not retire to 1 hour, 2 hours, we will retire to our own room. We will not talk to anybody, we will try to dwell on it. We can only see how the mind runs here and there. So how do we do that? Celebrations are exclusively for God remembrance. Is it just coming at the outer plane and then just fading? We have seen that, this is the blunt truth. Many of you might be remembering, immediately after Papa's Samadhi, Mataji stopped all celebrations. During those years when we used to come here, we have never heard anything about the celebration. Even Papa's centenary was not celebrated in the way in which now we say we are celebrating. Excepting Mataji sent some love offerings to various temples and some activity, that's all. Because Mataji felt everything goes on the superficial plane. Anyway, God again prompted devotees to press to Puja Swamiji, and later on from 90 onwards, it got revived. The 6 days or 7 days in a year, it came back from 90 only. And then what happened? And now what is happening? So we have these 7 days. There is a relevance for 7 days. There could be individually, it's not collective. Collectively we can say Papa's 140th. Say a few words, share a few thoughts. Okay, that we will continue. But far from that, individually on that day, when Puja Swamiji says celebrations are exclusive for God remembrance, we do something on that day, something which is not there in the other days. Individually, silently. Like what? One or two suggestions.
Ram Nam with like devotion chanting?
Something in one. This in a lighter way we can say, when we remember Vinayaka Chaturthi, we remember about the Kodakata, Modagam. When we remember about Krishna Jayanti, we remember about Chidai. When we remember about Deepavali, Ukkare or oil bath. Something is there, no? It is outer agreed. But the day comes and we remember Vishu, crackers, or Vishukani. On an important day like this, what do we do? Something, forget about the eatables, no?
Ramnam.
Huh?
Ramnam.
Ramnam.
Every day we are doing Ramnam. What type
More
of,
intensely, with more devotion,
eh?
with more love for Papa, for whatever he has given
Quality,
to us.
quality chanting. Yes.
What all he has
Yeah. Silently, without informing anybody, suppose we do that, that is the fittest celebration. Forget about all of us are joining together and saying something. Let it be
Swamiji,
there.
no sound, Swamiji.
Being an organization, we have to do that. New visitors will be there, so they will be able to know about it. So there are no rituals, a few rituals like...
Swamiji, no sound.
No
You have
sound.
muted yourself.
Oh, sorry. I would have...
Swamiji, we can't hear.
Right, now.
Yes, sir.
Now it's okay, Acha. So there should be the usual, this thing, morning flower offering and what do you call? We will say a few words and flag hoisting. And after 12 o'clock, we also share some more thoughts. 3:30, we share some more thoughts. Okay. But individually, even if it is for 5 minutes or 10 minutes, suppose we make a resolve that with this background, we mentally bring Papa before us, the charming figure. Because of him, through that form, God made to have this Anandashram set up. God gave us the opportunity to get attracted toward this. God made us to come here and associate with it. God made us to take to Ramnam chanting. It may be quantity oriented, okay? Something, it has its own impact in our individual life. Something is there, we can feel that. So we feel a gratitude toward that form. And that form came to this world on that particular day. And because of that form came to that particular, this Anandashram came, and we are drawn here, and we are all now associating ourselves with his thoughts. So with this gratitude, and he could scale the heights by remembering God through chanting. I must also be able to scale the heights. That is why he has set up this ashram. That is why he has drawn me here. So I am not in a position to do as he did. My body, mind, intellect is not fit enough to do that. But on this particular day, as a part of my homage to him, I will do this. Each one will silently make a resolve, even if it is for 5 minutes or 10 minutes, some special sadhana, which is closely associated with Ramnam. Suppose we do that, what Swamiji says, celebrations are exclusively for God remembrance. We are making at least 1% attempt. So that, and the day, it depends upon our intensity and commitment. Suppose we do something like that, it will remain. If something is given to us for the first time, we are tasting, that experience will remain with us. Even after the act is done, not there. Even after 5 days or 10 days, we will be remembering that. Similarly, when we do this for 5 minutes or 10 minutes on that particular day silently, it will have its own impact. So we are now praying to Papa. You are now making us to think on these lines. Enable us to do it. What we should do, you can reveal it later. But let us do something, let us make a beginning, so that the celebrations are not just treated as a social gathering, a social event. On that day, Swamiji gave left and right. We remember that. Somebody was talking. And those days, people used to assemble from different places. So that night we will have Ramnam also. And then, as we were going to the bhajan hall, Swamiji heard many people are talking outside, sitting outside, talking something. Some people are sitting inside. And with that background, Swamiji went there. Then he gave left and right. Now we have gathered here, so many things he has done. We will read that full on that 23rd. Now we have gathered here because this is a sacred day for all of us. Many years ago, Mataji decided that there should be no celebrations because she found that devotees did not make proper use of the celebrations. Instead of keeping their mind centered on God, they were here meeting as if for a social gathering, where they spend most of their time in talking about so many worldly things. Actually, such days are meant for the remembrance of God and to get intoxicated with the joy born of constant remembrance, God remembrance. Unfortunately, even on a sacred day like beloved Papa's Jayanti day, our mind is engaged in worldly indulgences. Instead, our mind, through concentration, should dwell upon a higher plane of consciousness all the time. Then only we will be able to make the best use of such sacred days. We should try intensely to make our mind dwell on God on such holy days. If we do not this even on this day, how can we do so on the ordinary days? We find that instead of sitting for bhajans, many devotees are engaged in idle talk in different rooms, in different places. What is the use of their coming to ashram for such an important occasion? That is not good. Such celebrations become a mere show for them. Everyone should feel that we must make the best use of the day for constant remembrance. And when we attend such celebrations in the ashram, our behavior must be such that we should not cause any type of inconvenience to anybody. Instead of that, we must be loving towards everybody. We must give the maximum help to those who are in meditation and to those who are doing bhajans. On the contrary, it is found that some devotees talk outside loudly when bhajan is in progress. They do not realize that devotees inside are doing bhajan and will be disturbed by such noise. This is most unfortunate. It means they have no idea of what they have come for and what they should do. Whenever we take part in celebrations here or in any other place, and if it is connected with a saint's birthday, we must see that we make the best use of it by constant remembrance of God. Our mind should not think of anything else but God. Then only we are going to be benefited. May beloved Papa give all of us much devotion so that our minds may rest on God, only on God. On such day we should get the maximum benefit of God remembrance. All of us are walking on the divine path. Let us not forget that our beloved Gurudev, Papa, along with Mataji, is ever with us, watching over every action of us, every thought of ours, every feeling of ours. If we do anything wrong, naturally we sin against our own Guru. So we have to be careful every minute because we are sadhakas and our goal is God realization. We should not forget this at all. Forgetting this, we commit so many mistakes, and naturally our mind is brought down to the lower planes of consciousness. We suffer, and to lift ourselves up to higher planes again will be a Herculean task. We should not willfully allow a fall to happen. We must first conquer the lower nature of the mind, and all the demonical qualities should be overcome by intense efforts and sadhana, so that we may ultimately try to develop the divine qualities in us. The divine qualities like love, truthfulness, goodness, compassion, and so forth are necessary for every one of us to progress on the spiritual path. We have to be so careful that the mind is never allowed to think of the lower things. If the mind is if the mind wallows in the lower nature, it is very difficult to tune in higher nature again. Every moment of a sadhaka is precious, and a sadhaka is a sadhaka for all the 24 hours. He cannot say that he is very careful in his sadhana only during his meditation prayer. He must not do what you call reprehensible actions at all other times. He must be careful in his thoughts and deeds all the time, whether he is saying prayers or doing meditation or conducting business or dealing with other people. He is a sadhaka all the 24 hours. All his thoughts and actions should conform to the norm set for a sadhaka, so that he may ultimately reach the supreme goal pointed out by your Guru. May all of us remember him, make our mind dwell on him constantly, and thus progress quickly on the spiritual path, reach the spiritual summit in this very life itself. Very powerful message, very powerful message. 15th April 1995. So, what is possible we will do? At least 5 minutes or 10 minutes, we will have something individually. Collectively, we will do the same thing. We don't have many such items in our celebrations here. We have reduced everything. And so that will go on. The flag hoisting reminds us of the goal to be scaled. Flower offering, of course, on that particular day. Before that, we remember, so that we are reminded why we are offering the flower to him. An extra thanks, an extra gratitude. And then 11:30 also, 11:45, we try to remind us of the wonderful opportunities provided by Papa Mataji and Swamiji to ensure that we are on the same goal. 3:30 also we will try to do that. But along with that is collective. Individually we should do something. Kindly think over it. We have got 3 days and pray to him to guide us. It is not the question of how many hours are there, how many minutes. But what we do should be quality stamped. Something. Just like that Tantri told us, after the Prana Pratishtha, when he comes, you can look at his face. You will see the extra glow in him. We don't say that extra glow should be there on our face. Something like that. We should feel, not for others. We should feel on that day we had a direct touch with Papa. Something that has given us that feeling of his presence. Bas. He is with us, he has been with us. That we repeat. But we should have some glimpse of his presence on that day. So on 23rd, on the 140th Jayanti day, we pray to Papa to give us a glimpse of his presence in whatever form he does it. We don't say his form, whatever form. Of course, we need not bother what has been done, but still Mataji has guided us. It is beyond the 3 chakras, Not that we have to worry about it. That means a stage where we get a glimpse of, according to Mataji, when we pass through the Deha Buddhi, a glimpse. even the very notion of doing this special sadhana will not be there. Everyone can choose to read a few lines that inspires us. With this bhavana, when we go to the shelf and take a book, rest assured we will be directed to one particular word which will help us to have the glimpse of his presence. Because our body, mind, intellect is not trained to dwell on for a longer time, we are only seeking for a glimpse. Let us be very practical and silently. We need not bother about others. God will, if God wills, He will give it to that also. But we are now praying. You gave me a sense of individuality and make me to think in terms of me and mine. Though I have been trying to get out of this boundary, still I am within this compass. So at least give me one glimpse where I feel that I get elevated to a higher plane. Through quality chanting of Ramnam, through dwelling on your attributes, through dwelling on something which you prompt us at that time. It can be immediately after getting up. It can be during any of our morning time. Morning is preferable. Morning is preferable. And if we are blessed to have this due for this celebration, then we know the key now. 7 days in the year we can have this. That will again trigger the whole movement. So it is good that how he is directing. He said celebrations are exclusively for God remembrance. Puja Swamiji's every word, it keeps us on toes. How we should move forward. So let us try to make use of this and pray to him for the next 3 days intensely to give us some direction on these lines, suiting to our temperament, each one's temperament. That is why we are praying to him. It is not collective, because collective means it is one. It is in total disregard to the one's limitations. But here, each one, when he does or tries to do that, it is within the limitation, within the influence of the taste, temperament, and inclination, aptitude, preferences, priorities. So we are free. Not that everybody is sitting, I should sit, I should close my eyes. No. Whatever is suitable for our equipment, so that we are at ease, we are comfortable. It is not. It is a purely 100% or 150% self-imposed, suiting to our. Is that clear to everybody?
Swamiji.
Yes, Swamiji.
Yes, Swamiji.
Yes.
Huh?
Yes, Swamiji.
Oh.
Yes, Swamiji.
So let us try. Let us try. Om Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. Om Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. Om Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. Om. According to our present schedule,